Have you ever won an argument 3 hours after it ended? You're in the shower or trying to fall asleep, and suddenly, there it is. The perfect reply. The exact sentence you should have said. The one that would have shut the whole conversation down. The problem? Nobody's there anymore. The conversation is over. And somehow your brain decided now was the perfect time to be clever. What's strange isn't that the reply arrived late. What's strange is that your brain kept working on the conversation long after it was already finished. Most people assume they just weren't clever enough in the moment. But if that were true, the comeback wouldn't appear later at all. So why does your brain seem to find it only after the moment is gone? When someone catches you off guard, you're not just thinking, you're reacting. You're reading expressions, managing emotions, deciding what to say, and figuring out how you appear to the other person, all at the same time. Under pressure, your brain prioritizes speed over quality. It wants a response now, not the best response, just a response. So you laugh, change the subject, say something forgettable, anything that keeps the conversation moving. The moment passes, life goes on, except your brain doesn't always agree that the moment is over. Hours later, you replay the conversation, then replay it again. You imagine different responses, different outcomes, almost like some hidden part of your mind is still sitting in that conversation, refusing to leave. And that's the real mystery, not the comeback. Why your brain keeps returning to the scene at all. Psychologists discovered something surprising about unfinished mental tasks. Your mind treats unfinished experiences differently from finished ones. A psychologist named Bluma Zygarnik noticed that people remembered interrupted tasks far better than completed ones. Open loops stayed active. Closed loops faded away. This became known as the Zygarnik effect. And a conversation where you never said what you wanted to say is one giant open loop. The conversation ended externally, but internally, it never felt complete. You never got the ending you wanted, so your brain keeps working. Not because it enjoys torturing you, because from its perspective, the task isn't finished yet. And while it's replaying the conversation, something else changes. The pressure is gone, the audience is gone, the emotional intensity is lower, and suddenly your brain can think much more clearly. Daniel Kahneman described two broad modes of thinking, one fast and automatic, the other slower and more deliberate. During the argument, the fast system took over. After the argument, the slower system finally gets its chance. That's why the perfect reply feels so obvious afterward. You're solving the same problem under completely different conditions. Researcher Cian Beilock found something similar when studying performance under pressure. When people feel evaluated, the mental resources needed for clear thinking become disrupted by stress and self-monitoring. The very system needed for a clever response becomes harder to access, which means the late comeback isn't proof that you suddenly became smarter. It's proof that your brain finally had access to resources it couldn't fully use earlier. And maybe that's the most reassuring part of this entire phenomenon. The reply didn't appear because you failed. It appeared because your mind never stopped trying. Long after the conversation ended, some part of you was still searching for a better answer, still trying to close the loop. So the next time the perfect response arrives in the shower, on a walk, or right before you fall asleep, don't take it as proof that you're slow. The comeback arrived late for a reason. Not because your brain was absent in the moment, but because it was busy doing something else. Managing pressure, managing uncertainty, managing emotion. And only when those demands disappeared did it finally have the freedom to finish the conversation. The perfect reply didn't arrive too late. It arrived the moment your brain finally had time to complete a conversation it never believed was finished.